the scars remind me to appreciate the days I don't have to.
Remember what we were talking about?
Well, they were introducing, they were talking about their company, so just have them kind of start over and introducing themselves, because, we lost about our first 10 minutes from our other recording. So we're recording again. You can go back.
Okay. So.
To introduce them again.
Oh, well, go ahead and talk about BitBot and tell me what BitBot is, because when I looked it up and I, tried to Google it, it seems like it's not one thing. It's not three things. It's like 12 things. And, it was kind of hard for me to
prepare spin the wheel.
Prepare for the podcast, because you guys are doing so many different things in so many different areas with the publishing and the music and the gaming thing, and so I think it's better for you to introduce yourself.
Sure.
And introduce what you do at your company than it is for me to try to, sum it up.
Yeah. So I'm Josh Viola, a co-owner of BitBot, and this is Klayton, aka Celldweller,
Scandroid, Circle of Dust, Freak Chen.
How come you have so many AKAs? I'm always a little worried about people who've got AKAs.
I'm on the run.
Yeah.
You're not going to go. I think you're pretty identifiable, though. It's not like you're going to be hiding very.
It's very true. My hair keeps ratting me out. I don't think people really even know what my face looks like. It's just the hair. They see that and they're like, "Oh, that's that guy."
Yeah. Well, Klayton and I have worked together for a while. We're both entrepreneurs. We both have other successful businesses. And he comes from a music background. I come from a publishing video game background. And again, he has a successful music label. I'll let him speak to. I shouldn't speak to everything Klayton does, but and I have oddly enough a meat company, a meat processing company that's done very well, and a commercial real estate business, but I worked in video games and publishing.
So, meat company and video games. Yeah. Wow, that's quite the.
It's a weird. I'm from Nebraska, so
did we talk about?
We did talk about that.
Where? And I think you were from Nebraska, a place I'd never even heard of. Right?
Yeah, no one knows.
What is it?
I'm from Bridgeport, Nebraska.
Is that up in that far left hand?
Yeah, it's the Panhandle by Scotts Bluff.
That's really in the middle of nowhere.
It's really is. Yeah.
See, for someone from New York, I just hear Nebraska and I'm like, the whole state is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
The one I fly over.
Well,
right, exactly.
Well, but the thing about the Nebraska, which is, you say, the middle of nowhere, I always take a little bit of pride at saying Nebraska really is right in the middle of the United States. Yeah. I don't think there is a state that is more in the middle of the United States than Nebraska.
In so many different ways, actually, the way, if you really want to dig into that. But yeah, you're from the opposite side. So I'm
from the side that's got a few people there.
right.
Like Lincoln.
The one with the population.
Yeah.
But see, like, when I lived
people
in
than cows, Yeah.
When I grew up, I moved to Denver when I was 10.
Okay.
But the whole first 10 years of my life, I never went to Lincoln. It was that area where I'm from. But my aunt had a cattle farm, and my dad was her ranch hand. So, Did
you go to college?
I did. Yeah, I have. I got my bachelor's in game art and design.
Where in game art?
Game art and design, and then I got a master's.
Where did you get that? And master's where?
That was all in Colorado when I moved out here. Yeah, and my master's in business.
So you can go to school now and study gaming.
You can, but I now I look back. Yeah, I'm like, if I could go back, I wouldn't have gone to school. So much of what I've done.
Same thing with me as an actor, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. But the meat company thing, we started. My dad and my brother and I started it in 2009. The three of us, and it's now an 80-person business. It's the second largest bison processor in the U.S. Very successful.
Really?
We do, yeah.
What is a meat company? I mean, it sounds like the name of a movie or something. I mean, what do you do at a meat company?
So we process.
We're talking about animals, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You could go a lot of different ways, but with that one, but it's Frontier Natural Meats. That's the name of the business, and then we also own some.
But okay, so meat comes to you. You don't
we procure the animals with exclusive ranchers across the U.S. and Canada, and we basically purchase the livestock in advance, like before they're conceived. There's obviously, as you know, there's like this massive inflation with meat prices and
now.
Yeah. That has everything to do with the fact that like people like in our
is
industry,
that hurting your company right now?
It's not hurting ours.
No.
Okay.
Higher prices aren't hurting. No.
Well, no, the higher price. Yeah, we don't have a choice but to raise. That's a whole other system. But it doesn't hurt us because of how we structured the business. But long story short, we process primarily bison and organic beef, and we do it white label for a lot of the major retailers: Albertson, Safeway, Kroger's, Publix, and then we export to Asia and Europe. We ship about 1.5 million pounds of product out of our facility.
A month?
Yeah, 1.5 million.
So if I see a package of a pound of ground bison at Albertsons, which I've seen,
if it's their private label, which I don't recall the name. If it's, I don't mean to turn this into a meat podcast.
No, it's a fascinating
podcast. You need to rename your podcast to the Meat Podcast.
If you go to the grocery store and you'll see like the label and you look, there's like what we call a bug on the label. There's like a little triangle or a US. There's going to be an establishment number on any piece of meat that you purchase in the store, and like it's almost all meat. Is almost all white labeled, so it's coming from people like us. And you can look up the establishment number and you can see what company produced it, processed it, and that's how you find it. So if you go, we do the private label stuff for Albertsons and Safeway and Kroger. Kroger's are one of our, Albertsons and Kroger are our biggest, and Albertsons and Safeway are now owned by the same company.
Well, for all the people that have stayed on the that are still listening to the podcast about gaming and I led you right down there. And I still want to say one last thing about meat, and that
BitBot is not a meat company.
BitBot is not a meat company.
Sorry.
BitBot's not a meat company. No, I did. No, it's a very interesting company, and we're going to get to it. But I just did want to say one thing about Nebraska and meat, and that is, you can go to Nebraska and you can get a steak in Nebraska that tastes different than any other steak in any steakhouse, any great steakhouse in the country. The best steaks in the world are in Nebraska. I mean, they're shockingly good. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, this is like really good. All right. Enough with meat, but go ahead and talk a little bit more about BitBot.
Yeah, so BitBot it's a multimedia company that Klayton and I put together 1.5 years ago. We'd worked together on numerous projects. We've known each other for 15 years or so. And it's music production, which is Klayton's area of expertise, film. We produce films, video game production, graphic novels, and a lot of merchandise. So I'm wearing, our officially licensed Terminator stuff. And that's one example of some of the things that we do. Klayton can elaborate on some more of that. But.
Oh, I mean, going into our history, I haven't done so much in the meat industry, personally.
Well, that's too bad, because that was the interesting. That's
the hook for this whole.
But I do ship you products.
You do, and we love it. It's the best. He'll just be like, "Hey," and just send a big old box of all kinds of meat. My wife's out there cooking. Oh, it's the best. It's great stuff. But my history is primarily in music. So I was pre-med, studying to be a doctor.
Okay.
Had no interest in being a doctor, but you get through high school and you're like, what do I do?
Right.
Got to make money, and I had some interest in the human body and kind of the systems and how it works. So I studied.
I had an interest in the human body too, but it had
very different kind, right?
Wanting to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
And you know, I was just kind of going through the motions. I didn't really want to be a doctor. And all this time making, you know, music in my parents' basement on just the worst gear in the world. I ended up getting a record deal, dropped out of school immediately, and started my path down like maybe 2 decades of just starving, trying to make it in the music industry, which is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So, but I survived. I was too dumb to quit. I just kept going. And I started having success. And a lot of my success came when I started landing a lot of music in movies and movie trailers, video games.
Doing music for trailers?
Yeah. But a lot of times they would take the music I've already made and put it in the trailer. So you'd watch the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trailer when he was, you know, Spider-Man. And
it would be your music.
Yeah, well, you know, not the whole. It depends. Not every trailer, but like they've used a lot of my music in the Superman, a lot of man movies, Iron Man, like
John Wick, right?
Well, it's better
John
than
Wick.
Like a lot of women movies.
Yeah, well,
so there you go.
It's debatable. I don't know.
Yeah,
no, not
right.
27 dresses and things like that. Although, you know, that could pay well.
Okay, so go back. So all of these big companies are using your music for bits and pieces of their soundtrack or advertising or both?
More advertising than soundtrack. There's occasion.
Yeah, because the director and everybody's involved with the soundtrack,
Yes,
and you got
yes.
okay.
And quite honestly, it was more lucrative at
you guys know BLT?
BLT.
Okay, they're a company that makes posters and
They do trailers? Do they do?
Yes,
is it a
and they do
trailer house?
trailers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
There's so many that have popped up
I
and
know
kind of
they
come
have.
and
I
gone.
know.
Ant Farm, like big places.
They were one of the originals. And
Okay. I've been to BLT. That's right. I remember that.
in Hollywood.
Yes, in Hollywood.
Yeah.
The big bill. Yes, I was.
Yeah,
I've been
and
there.
I've got a friend I've wanted to bring on the podcast before. He's the L in BLT, and he, he's worked with Spielberg, he's worked with Scorsese, he's worked with Jim Cameron, he's worked with Quentin, and to do trailers. And
It is I mean, you know, I don't want.
have you ever actually cut trailers and made trailers, or are you completely like somebody's got a trailer and you're throwing music?
Generally,
on?
it's the trailer house, and I'm the music part. And
Okay.
sometimes it's like, hey, we love that track you did. Let's use that, and then they cut it up. And other times it's like, I remember I did this a custom one for Doom, the movie Doom, that the Rock was in the video game adaptation. I never saw the movie, but they liked one of my songs, and they're like, but we just want the lyrics to change. So I literally wrote lyrics along the lines of something they wanted, and I recut them, and they got a custom trailer, you know, a custom cue for me for that trailer.
Okay.
You know, and sometimes that happens. And at other times it's just like, hey, you've already made a piece of music. We love it. We're going to just use it. And then they just pay a license fee for it.
Well, you've contributed to actual motion pictures as well, though.
Yeah. So I've worked on the score of like Transformers movies.
Okay, when you say you've worked on the score, so you basically there is somebody that gets a credit for music on a movie like that, and then they have a number of people that are working for them to get so that's the type.
I'm not the cool guy. I'm not the big.
Yeah,
well, it depends on the movie. I did score
I'm
my
not the
own
cool.
movie.
I'm not Jim Cameron either. You know, I'm not.
So we're in the same. We're on the same
kind
plane.
of, you know, we're all spokes in the wheel.
Right,
really,
exactly.
When it comes down to
and that's what it is. So like a bunch of Michael Bay films I've worked on. So Steve Jablonsky is kind of his score guy, and I've done a bunch of pictures with Steve, and I'm the guy. Steve comes to me and goes, "I need a bunch of cool sounds."
Isn't Michael Bay sweet?
I haven't met him, but I've heard some stories, you know. So I'm sure you know more than me.
No. He's just sweet to me. He's
Okay,
a sweet guy.
I haven't had any
that's what I
interaction.
meant.
I just know that when it's in panic, you know, the term Biehn. I think Biehn is real from what I've been told.
Yes, yeah.
So I was always on standby, you know, to get a call in the middle of the night and be like, I need this like in 5 minutes, you know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
It didn't happen, thankfully, but yeah, I worked on several Transformers films. I worked on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film.
So when you're working on like you said, I work on a Transformer movie like a day, a week, a month,
months.
Plural.
Yeah, and it's what it is like, you know, as you can imagine.
And you're working directly with the person that's getting credit for scoring the movie.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
and they're
James Newton Howard. You've probably heard his name. I've done some stuff for James. So they'll be like Concussion is a movie I worked on for James Newton Howard, and he's like, hey, I've exhausted my resources. I just want some cool new sounds. And I'd get on the phone with him and he'd say, give me some stuff like this or some, and then I just go to work and I spend several months creating different textures, miking up, I might tap my shoe and then run it through a bunch of effects and turn that into a sound or a tone.
Wow.
So to me, it's a creative thing because as a musician, as an artist,
of course it is.
writing music, there's a pressure. I don't know how it is for you, but if like you are doing like the main role in a film versus like you're doing a part, like a small part, I feel like
I
you
don't
could have
do
more
small parts.
Well, not small part, but like maybe less pressure. Is that the way to say it?
I'm joking. I have done many small parts, but go ahead.
But
I'm
in some way the pressure is off you because you don't have to carry all the weight of like,
course, yeah.
right? So that in a way that's how this is for me because I get to make cool sounds, but I don't have the pressure of having to turn them into
and you
full
get to make a
songs.
bunch of cool sounds, and then they can just go like, well, we'll take that one,
Exactly.
and we'll take that
Yes.
one, and we'll take that one,
Yes,
and you're
exactly.
not really responsible for the final product.
Right.
So somebody goes like, the score on that movie is like, it would have been a great movie except for that
He
score.
screwed it up. My name's in there, but I'm like at the back of the bus. I think the music guys, the rest of the music department is like the last thing right before the no animals were harmed in the making of this. That's
And the
where
law
we
firm
sit.
credit. Yeah.
Well, these days too, you're probably gone like when you on pay-per-view, when you watch the movie and the credits start to roll, they immediately disappear. So your credit is probably part that you never see anyway.
Like whipped right past. It's a thankless job in a way, but for me,
come
it's
on.
not.
No, it's not.
totally
It's
cool.
not. It's creative and it's got to be fun. That has
It is
to have
fun.
been fun, and you're
is.
working with composers and you're working with movies, and that's that. And it sounds to me like you're kind of doing your own thing. You don't have a boss. I mean, you have a boss, but the boss is, hey, what do you
They're
got?
coming to me because they want what I do.
Yeah.
Which is, that's
Yeah.
a good thing because, doing the grind of like, okay, you're a cog in a wheel. I could replace you with 20 other people. Then you're just there to do whatever they tell you to do.
Yes.
They're coming to me going, hey, we know you do stuff like this. I need more of that kind of stuff. And then you send it and you'll get notes occasionally, but a lot of times it's like, great, just keep giving it to me. And then like you said, they'll pick through, combine it the way they want to.
But he doesn't give himself enough credit. I mean, he's a pretty humble guy, but it's more than that. I mean, I came to him because he has an established fan base. He has a musical career more than just scoring and doing these contributions for these films and video games. And he's done some big video games. But I mean, I was a fan of his. I was listening to his music when I was in high school.
Really?
And
Cool.
I got to know him because I went into the video game industry and he was scoring stuff in video games, big games, The Matrix, Killer
Enter the
Instinct.
Wow.
The whole reason we got connected was
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just stay right where you were, okay? Do you have an agent like for this, or you just build a reputation and people hear about you? And
So my first manager, Tyler Bacon, he owns a company actually right in Burbank called Position Music.
Okay.
And when he started that company, he took me on, managed me. I had known him from a previous record label. So he's like, I'm going to start this business. We're going to rep music to film, TV, and video games. And I want to manage you at the same time. So my music became the litmus test, the scapegoat. We just kind of threw it out there. The first placement I think I ever got was $100. I got $100. It was in this
I've had a
movie
few of
called
those.
Python. And I think it opened with like a bunch of these lesbian girls making out at a
Love
campfire,
that,
and then a
yeah.
huge. It was a rip off of like what was the big Jennifer Lopez movie?
Anaconda.
It was the B movie of that,
Right, yeah.
and I was like, I got music in a movie. This is amazing.
Yeah.
$100, and
Yes.
that was how it started. So, agent.
What year was that?
That had to
kind
be
of?
2000 probably.
Yeah.
2000.
Okay.
Yep. Was that era. So that was the beginnings for me. And then I'm sorry, you're getting cut off too, because I want you to continue.
no.
But
He wants you to continue to
Talking
talk about
about
how
him.
great he is.
yeah, right. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just telling stories.
No, I know,
but
I know,
He'll
I know.
brag on me
I'm-
more than I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But there's lots of stuff we could talk. Go ahead, continue.
Well, but that's how I was a fan of his music. I got into video games. So like the first game I ever worked on was a Pirates of the Caribbean game.
Okay. You got into videos. So how do you get into working on Pirates of the Caribbean?
I went to school for it. So
Okay.
and then I immediately, got a job as an artist. I was a low level artist first. That's where it started.
Are you an artist? Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
so when you're working on
I met Schwarzenegger a few years back, and I had a piece of art, a Terminator art that I did for a contest for like Terminator Genesis, and it like was and anyhow he signed it and didn't seem impressed by it, but
it's hard to impress Arnold.
Go away,
especially now.
But anyhow, no, I'm an artist, writer, entrepreneur. Just like we wear multiple hats, right? But I don't do the art really anymore. But yeah, I was an art director on numerous games. But anyhow, as
art director on numerous video games.
Yeah.
Like,
this is a weird one. The Smurfs game, Smurfs
okay,
Grabber.
All good.
Universe is one that was created by Tony Harmon and Dave Jones, who are the guys that created Donkey Kong Country and the original Grand Theft Auto.
Wow.
So I worked with Brent Friedman, and he's.
Do any of those guys who actually create the game ever make any money? Or are they always working for a company that
Dave Jones in Scotland with? Yeah, I mean, very rich, very
very rich, right?
Very rich.
And Tony Harmon, he lives in Boulder, Colorado. I live in Denver.
Okay.
He's become a very good friend.
Sometimes
his wife
you hear about a guy like Stan Lee who created Spider-Man, and they're working for Marvel, and they don't own anything because they're working for companies. And I work with a guy that did Far Cry.
Blood Dragon. Right?
Blood Dragon. And that's Ubisoft. Ubisoft owns that. Not the guy who created it. So I was just wondering what
it's funny like how the stuff goes, but like Tony, he created. I shouldn't say created Donkey Kong because Donkey Kong existed, but he created Donkey Kong Country, which was the big popular '90s game, and then he did more. And he later with Dave Jones, I believe, created the studio that did Crackdown, which ironically, before Klayton and I ever knew each other, or you even knew Tony, your music was in Crackdown, which was a big Xbox title.
Wow.
But then they created Universe, and I came on as the narrative, or I worked with the narrative director. I was the creative director under the narrative director on that project. But anyhow, long story short, I pitched an IP to the video game studio I worked for, intellectual property. And to the video game company that I worked for, and there was some music licensing involved, and I hadn't known Klayton yet, but I was a big fan. I was like, that would be perfect. Let's reach out to his company, Fixed, which I didn't even know was his company at the time, his record label. But when I reached out and licensed his music, then we just kind of hit it off, and I got to know his manager, James Rhodes, really well. We became friends. Clayton and I, and then he started coming out to Denver, which is where I'm based, and we just would he would come perform a show, or he would do something. He came to Denver Comic-Con back in the day, and you were a special guest at my company's booth, and we just kind of hit it off. And then I wrote some books for a concept album that he did, and then he wrote a score for it, and we just as things progressed.
There's a lot of unconventional stuff, which is why BitBot. So I write a concept album, which is kind of how I operate. It's hard for me to just write a song, I love you, and then the song about this. And it's like I write it, and it's an entire empire. Okay. There's characters. They make appearances throughout the whole album. So I had this concept album, and he's like, for Wish Upon a Black Star specifically. And I talked to him about turning this idea into an actual novel. And then I'm like, okay, so he's writing a novel. I want something.
You specifically are writing, or you hire somebody?
No, he wrote it.
You're writing. Yeah. You come up with an idea, and you say "This is the world."
Yeah.
And you write a novel about it.
Yeah, I've written.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've had numerous Denver Post bestseller titles. Yeah. So
you're surprised by your guests today. You're like, I didn't know you guys even. I didn't even know you had a meat company. This is incredible.
Yeah.
Give me an example of a couple of books that you've written that have done really well.
Well,
for you, or you're proud of, or
some of them are anthologies that I put. Like Nightmares Unhinged was a horror anthology that did it incredibly well. I got to know Stephen Graham Jones through that, and he and I have collaborated on some comic books. Stephen's very big right now in horror. He just made Obama's top 2025 reading list. Yeah, for the Buffalo Hunter. But Cyber World.
He wrote a book called The Buffalo Hunter.
Buffalo Hunter.
Buffalo Hunter. That's an interesting title, and it's a book. It's
a horror novel.
It's in Obama's
and
it's a horror novel.
It's a horror novel, and it made Obama's 2025 reading list.
Wow.
He's been called the Jordan Peele of. I mean, like Stephen King just did his. Stephen King helped narrate Stephen Graham Jones's latest audiobook for the Only Good Indians. So he's big. He's in the horror
He was
world.
in Denver with. We had a couple of panels together with Stephen.
So Stephen and I've known Stephen for a long time. I've published him. I'm a fan of his work. He lives very close to me. I've employed his son with my business. We're pretty close friends. But Stephen's Jamie Lee Curtis had her comic. I can't remember the name of her graphic novel. Came out 2-3 years ago. And Jamie wrote it, and it's but it references Stephen's book. I think
so does Jamie Lee Curtis writes a comic, and then somebody illustrates it, and it's distributed? Is that
I don't know too much on the background, but she put it out.
Okay.
I think she announced it at like San Diego Comic-Con a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
But and it's a horror graphic novel.
Wow.
But she references Stephen Graham Jones's book, My Heart is a Chainsaw. And she's a fan of his work. And so when Stephen and I were putting together a slasher comic book series called True Believers, I was like, man, because it's kind of a meta experience. It actually takes place at Kofo, where we met not long ago. But it's like a meta exploration of toxic fandom and cosplaying and all of this stuff.
Cool.
And I was like, dude, Jamie Lee referenced your book. Let's have you, let's reach out to her. Maybe we can get her involved in True Believers. He's like, sure, go for it. I was like, I don't know her. But I did reach out. I reached out to her manager, and Jamie was like, yes, you can officially use my likeness and put my and advertise me as being part of the project, and that actually kickstarted this thing for our series where we got Jamie Lee Curtis and R.L. Stein officially, and Jeff Combs Slash, who we've worked with on a film, Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, all of these horror icons and music icons. Guar.
Let me just ask you about Slash, because I had one interaction with him. I think it was when I was out promoting a movie that I did called The Victim, and he was around Anchor Bay, and we were sitting with a few people, and for whatever reason we got up and kind of walked and talked, and he was the the nicest, most humble. Ask, interested in me, asking me about, and at that time he was interested in putting money into some of these sort of low budget horror movies.
That's how we're connected with him. Yeah.
Isn't he he's a great guy. I mean, he just seemed to be like, I don't know. I guess I always find people that are the most that are really successful, are the most confident, and therefore don't have to be
like driven by ego and overcompensating.
I just thought he was just a really, really wonderful guy.
Yeah, very down to earth, quiet. Not what you would think for
rock and roller.
and
guitarist for Guns N' Roses.
He co-produced with Klayton and I the new Deathstalker film that's out now, starring Daniel Bernhardt and Patton Oswalt. Which Raven Banner, who's BitBot's partner, we do a lot of stuff.
You talk fast. Okay, slow down a little bit there.
It's a lot of information.
You had a lot of information. No, it's cool. I love it. Tell me about that movie. Slash was involved in that movie.
Yeah, so Slash was an executive producer with, as were Klayton and I, for Deathstalker.
What's the name of the movie?
Deathstalker.
Okay,
so it's an old Corman 80s kind of Conan the Barbarian ripoff in a way, and this is I guess you could say a reboot. Steve Kostansky directed it. He did films.
When did this happen?
The movie
just premiered.
Just came.
A month ago?
Yeah, it's out in theaters now.
Oh, it's in theater, but it's not out on VOD yet, right?
Right.
Not on VOD.
And when it does go out, how will people be able to watch it?
Well, it's currently in theaters. You can see it in theaters.
You can
now.
see this movie in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Deathstalker's out now.
Deathstalker.
Yeah.
Is it all right? So how many theaters is it in?
Oh, that's an Andrew question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay. Do you know if it's doing well? Does it seem?
Yeah. It is doing well, and we're because of how our company works too. So we co-produced the film. I was there on set. I had a cameo that was cut. I think my hands and feet.
That happens to a lot of producers.
Yeah. For good reason, because I am not an actor. Yeah, so the film's
Don
out. But
Simpson, I think Jim and I were talking about Don Simpson being cut out of the Tom Cruise
Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder, yeah.
I will have to bring up a cameo in another film we produced that didn't get cut, and it should have because of how I'm credited. But I'll get into that.
Oh man,
Okay.
you sure you want to tell that story?
I don't know.
Please, if it's salacious at all.
It is.
My credit, and it's on IMDb, is a man with an incredibly small penis.
Oh, well, I was up for that fucking role.
Yeah.
Damn,
I beat you.
I didn't know you
Yes.
got
I was a smidge smaller.
And the Oscar goes to
Yeah. That's for Deathgasm 2, which is currently in the film festival circuit right now. But back to Deathstalker. Our company, BitBot. Sorry, I'm not used to having you next to me talking about BitBot. So what we'll do is we co-produce that, and then we will do a version. I believe Shout is doing the initial U.S. release for the Blu-ray.
Okay.
But BitBot will do the gray market and Canada and some other regions. We'll do the Blu-ray for that. And then we'll do all of the additional ancillary merchandise. So the soundtrack on vinyl, which Slash also did the soundtrack with
Really?
Or he did a song or the theme
he's
song.
on it.
Yeah.
And it was just submitted for Oscar consideration for theme song. So I'm not too terribly familiar, but we will do the vinyl soundtrack for that.
Wow.
So
wow.
So with we do that for
when-
films and.
Give me the beginnings of this. Who wrote? I mean, who? Is this going back to your idea? Is this?
Oh no. This is
So
based off.
Where did this come from, and how did this start?
Well, so I think
That's the thing. Is you got 100 things to talk about. This is one thing.
Sorry,
Let's just dig into
we're
that.
all over the place.
Yeah, let's dig into this. Just
for
one show.
for this film.
Yeah, because it's just coming out now. It seems to be, and so. What was the what is it, Jim? The genesis or with beginnings?
Yeah.
Well, we just executive producers on it. We weren't there from. I believe you and Jennifer know Andrew Hunt at Raven Banner Entertainment. Does that ring a bell? She does.
She does.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Raven Banner is a Canadian film production company that's known for genre films, particularly horror. Right.
Okay.
And so we partnered with them.
Okay.
BitBot partnered with them to co-produce some films, as well as handle a lot of their...
How do you partner with a company that's already do you have to throw money into the or you bring a talent to them?
Well, obviously with producing the films, we're putting money into it.
Okay.
But we are able to do our partnership with the distribution manufacturing of Blu-rays and physical merchandise.
Yes.
We're just able to do that for them, and they, so that's an easy sell. And I got to know Andrew pretty fast through some other dealings, and it just worked out. We're really good, both Klayton and I, and our VP James Rhodes, at just networking and cross promoting and finding ways to grow a business. Like I think we excel at that more than I think that's why we're
Well,
good
this
at
is why BitBot has really worked, because I've spent decades building my relationships and my network and my infrastructure. At the same time, Josh was doing that in different forms. So when we came together, we cover a lot of bases. That's why that's why you go to Wikipedia and you're like, what the hell do these guys do? Like, there's a million things going on. That's because we have the ability to do a million things. And I don't want to shift gears, but like we have the fourth biggest graphic novel in Kickstarter's history is one we launched last year for Legacy of Kain, The Dead Shall Rise.
Describe
for Soul Reaver,
what I know a little bit about it.
So Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform where people can post ideas and say, I want to make this thing. Here's a video. This is what the concept is. And there'll be things that you can basically buy. And what it essentially is you're buying these things in advance to fund, you're raising money. And if you hit the threshold of that, whatever the threshold of each person that sets their Kickstarter, could be $10,000, could be $100,000, whatever it is for whatever the product is. It could be a movie. It could be a pair of pants. Anything you can conceive of.
That's how Adam Carolla made one of his movies that I worked on. He crowdfunded it.
How much did they make? Do you remember?
I don't remember how much I don't remember what the goal was, but yeah, when I was working for him, he crowdfunded his movie and then he went out.
So you get your fans, right, to come out and say, I want to support this. You get people who are fans of that IP. In our case, Soul Reaver, which was an old video game IP that had been dormant for several decades. But what we did is we didn't roll out just a graphic novel, which Josh wrote directly. He's a huge fan. The character is tattooed on his arm, which is part of the reason
we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. But we go 10 miles past that. We make physical swords. There were swords in the game. And as far as we know, there have never been a physical version of this sword. And it's not just a straight sword. This is like a vampire-based story, very otherworldly. So there's a lot of things that you're not accustomed to seeing in our world necessarily. And we created masks for the main characters. We created...
I'm getting tired just listening.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well, so
exactly. When Michael passes out, you guys can just fire for the question.
The quick takeaway is with Soul Reaver. It's an old video game franchise from the mid '90s. There's 5 games. The last one was 2004.
Okay.
I was a big fan. I have a tattoo of one of the characters.
Okay.
I have a Terminator tattoo as well.
You were a fan of the game.
Yeah.
As a game. Yep. Okay.
And it had voice talent in there that like Michael Bell, Simon Templeman, Anna Gunn, who was Skylar in Breaking Bad. But anyhow, I was a big fan, and we got the rights last year to do this, and we put together something very quickly and put together a really smart, effective Kickstarter campaign and raised $1.7 million for a graphic novel, which is huge.
So it's the fourth largest.
1.7 million on a graphic novel.
On a Kickstarter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we actually, just before we got here, we just launched another Kickstarter for a Rocky Horror Show graphic novel. So we'll see how that goes.
That's
right. I bet it goes well.
So we do Kickstarters, but that's just one little segment of our business. We self-fund everything.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, our Kickstarters, and when we do anything we do, so really as a business model for us, we never look at it at a thing. Like if we were doing a movie, depending on how involved we are and depending on what access we have to the IP, we don't look at that and go, oh, cool, we're going to just make this movie. It's like, we're going to make this movie and let's make, we worked on Hundreds of Beavers.
Excuse me?
We didn't really work on it. We didn't work on it, but we were involved Hundreds of Beavers. So actually it was a pretty highly rated, again, this is through Raven Banner, but we made physical masks of these characters.
Not those beavers.
Not Michael. Those, different kind of beavers, Michael. Get your head back in the game here. He's sidetracked. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned Hundreds of Beavers.
So I'll give you the fast breakdown. Like
please. All right. So I mean, when you are involved, when you start to get involved, is this already written? Is it?
Okay. For the movie Deathstalker or for the graphic novel?
I'm confused now. I'm talking about what we were originally talking about is something that's coming out real soon, and
the Legacy of Kain. We were talking about the Soul Reaver.
See, you're even confused.
I'm confused. I'm confused.
Does anybody know anything about meat?
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about meat. That's easy.
No. You said you got a project that you sounds to me like you produced or you came up with an idea, and now you said it was going to be available in a week. Okay. What was that?
So that's
kind of walk me through that one.
Yeah. The Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver graphic novel that we did through Kickstarter. So we acquired the rights, and then we worked with the game studio and their team.
Who do you acquire the rights from?
For that one, from Crystal Dynamics. So they're a video game publisher.
Okay.
Have you heard of Tomb Raider?
Tomb Raider.
Have I heard of Tomb Raider?
This is this company that owns
Tomb Raider. The company that owns Soul Reaver, their two big franchises are Soul Reaver and Tomb Raider.
Okay.
So that's who we worked with. We got the rights from them to do this project.
Okay.
So
to make a movie.
No, to do the graphic novel.
To do the graphic novel.
I'm on the Soul Reaver. I'll go back to Deathstalker in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, we launched the Kickstarter for the graphic novel for Soul Reaver, and we licensed the graphic novel and all kinds of merchandise to go along with it, and that raised $1.7 million, and that will be, we finally finished it, and we'll be releasing that to all the people that
This is a graphic novel, or this is a movie?
That's a graphic novel. Now
you spent $1.7 million creating a graphic novel.
No, we raised
1.7,
but it's also like that sword I was talking about. We have merchandise like shirts,
but you
masks.
raised $1.7 million, and that $1.7 million it goes into making a graphic
we use
novel.
It to we
writing it, doing the art, doing the everything,
manufacturing.
I don't know how much they. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Well, I mean, think of it this way: we don't set we had a goal. We were just trying to raise $25,000. That's all. So it just exploded. We had no idea it was going to make 1.7 million. So there's a nice margin in there that we make some.
You just take
money.
the extra and put it in your pocket.
No. It's quite expensive. I mean,
it's actually not much extra, really.
Shipping costs alone, over $200,000 for all this stuff. So
wow.
And we launched this pre-tariffs, and then when we got into actual manufacturing, post-tariffs. So the margins we had built in, the prices had
Trump tariffs.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we have some of it manufactured and produced out of other countries.
So it affected. So we got quotes on certain things, and then we're like, okay, so we figure out how to charge for that. Let's say it's a mask, and we go, we're going to charge this much for that mask, and because you raise the money first, then you get that money, and then you go start making the product. During that time, Trump enacted the tariffs, for better or for worse. It doesn't matter. The fact is that, the manufacturers go, hey, we're getting hit with these tariffs. You got to pick up the cost. Yes. So if you do have a margin, 1.7 million sounds like a lot of money, but really at the end of the day.
Well, then there's license fees and royalties for the the licensor that we got rights for. But it was a great success. We're happy that we.
So you have a film now?
Not with that, but what I was talking about earlier was Deathstalker.
I know a little bit more about film than I do.
Yeah.
Cows.
Just a little.
So Deathstalker, that's the old Corman.
Yes. Yeah.
Films.
I want to hear about hear about that.
So again, that's a Raven Banner Entertainment production out of Canada.
Okay.
And so we partner with Raven Banner is one of our partners. Like I said, we partner with them on all of their films for manufacturing and distribution for certain parts of the world and developing additional merchandise. But for Deathstalker, we also went in as producers and put money into it.
Okay.
And Slash, as you had mentioned, he's done multiple films with Raven Banner.
Okay.
So Deathstalker being one of them.
Okay.
Slash is from what I know, Deathstalker is like one of his favorite films, the original. And so he wanted to be involved in this. So yeah, we
Deathstalker is the original film that you based this film on?
Yeah, and this one is sort of a reboot.
When was
sequel.
the original one done?
1983, right around the time of
when I was born. 1983.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a Roger Corman co-production with, I think, Argentinians.
Yeah, and they. I'm not fully up to speed on the Deathstalker franchise, but I want to say there's 3 original films.
Okay.
At least 2.
Okay.
Maybe even 4. I don't
know.
So
now you're going to make one.
Well, it's already made. It's out in theaters now.
Yeah, that's the one that's in theaters now.
So, and you raised your money on.
We put our money
into
BitBot
into it.
into it.
Are you? Is it? not a good business practice to say how much the film cost?
I don't know if Andrew will. It's
Yeah.
a low budget film.
I mean, these are
It's
indie.
okay.
These are indie
You don't
films.
need to. That's not important.
But we put in $20 each, so
yeah,
it's,
yeah. So
it's at least $40 in there.
Can you give me
Talk right into that
You
microphone,
were on the
Dad.
set?
Dad, talk right
Yeah.
into that microphone.
What?
Talk right into that microphone.
Yeah, you were on the set.
Yeah, I was. On set.
Okay, so where'd they shoot it?
What's they shot it in Sudbury in Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
Very
okay.
small little town.
Okay, and do you know how many days they shot it in?
Oh, it was a really short production. It was. I'm trying to remember.
21 or something like
Well,
that.
that's not short.
It was less than a month. I don't remember.
Less than a month. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you were
full
up there.
full practical effects. I
Okay.
mean, full sets built top to bottom, forests and rivers that were built inside of the studios. Pretty
Really?
impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Steve
Wow.
Kostansky, who directed it, he owns Action Pants Studio. I think that's the name of it. But they're a practical effects.
Okay.
That's what he's known for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And Daniel Bernhardt is the lead. And Daniel's been in a lot of stuff. He was popular, action star, kind of popular in the 80s and 90s. He's from
Do
Switzerland.
you know that
I believe.
name? What's
No,
his-
it doesn't.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
he's
I just
now
didn't
what
mean-
he does fight choreography. He's in a lot of major films, Matrix Reloaded, the John Wick
John Wick,
films.
yeah.
He was most
Yeah.
recently in that John Wick Ballerina, Nobody 2, which just came out. Big dude.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Okay.
he's a huge dude.
Okay.
He looks like Schwarzenegger. you know?
Fighter.
He's got
you know.
big credits. I'm looking at him on Wikipedia. He's got major movie credits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he typically he's like part of the choreography team, and we're actually going to work on another film with him soon. That's going to shoot
Apart from me.
overseas.
at all.
Yeah, let's talk.
Probably.
Let's talk. Yeah.
How jacked can you get in the next?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
about as jacked as it's going to get.
But so Daniel's the lead, and then Patton Oswalt. We have a
Yeah, well, Patton Oswalt is a fine actor, and
Yeah.
and, you know, like
now he just voiced.
Yeah, he
a
voiced-
character.
Oh, he voices.
He
it?
voiced
Okay.
voiced a character.
Okay.
And it's a fantasy.
Do you know how
film.
long it is? 90 minutes?
90 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect length for that
Um,
kind of movie.
It's campy, intentionally campy. It's paying tribute to the sword and sorcery sort of films of the
80s,
80s. Yeah.
Right.
Beastmaster.
And Slash came out on
Who's up
set.
for Beastmaster?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Thank God I didn't get that one. There's a few. Thank God I didn't get. That was one of them. But anyway.
But Slash was on set a day, so maybe 2 days. But going back to how humble he was, he very quiet, very nice guy.
Yeah.
It was funny because it's a small town, and once word got out that Slash was in town,
yeah.
I mean, the mayor showed up with a guitar to have Slash sign
Wow.
it. But he and I, we were talking of all things just about pinball because he's a huge pinball fanatic, and he has a massive collection, and I've got a pretty decent pinball arcade in my basement. So we were. It's just not what the stuff you would think you would talk about. He's
Right.
just a quiet, chill dude. You know?
Yeah.
and really, and probably like nerdy like us. That's kind of why we do what we do. It's like
Yeah.
it seems like we do a lot of stuff, but we're nerdy for movies. We're nerdy for video games.
Oh,
we're nerdy.
I can tell you're nerds.
Right. It's funny. People would see me, and the first thing they do is offer me drugs, or
Yeah.
oh, this guy must be a crackhead.
Yes.
I'd be like, I'll take a Coke, and do you have
Hey,
Yeah.
right.
Some
comic book or something?
Right.
Well, what we were saying with my tattoo sleeve, like that's sort of like a passion of mine. Like part of how we got some of the licenses was I convinced guys. It's like I'm a fan. Look at this, and that helped. That literally helped get some of the licenses.
That's
So-
funny.
Because you have their.
tattoo.
Their IP
Yeah.
tattooed on. his
But I
arm.
mean, like I've got Soul Reaver, I've got Terminator, I've got Schwarzenegger right here. I'm a huge and we got the Terminator license. So
and Evil Dead.
we have a Kyle Reese Terminator shirt, as you know.
Yeah. No, it's a great shirt. I love I love the shirt.
Yeah, it's but Yeah, it's fun. I'm a huge nerd, and it's like my goal is every single IP I have tattooed on my arm I want to work with.
Okay.
That's sort of the nerdy,
So
behind the
where is
scenes.
Michael on your arm right now?
In my armpit.
I have I have the last one I saw just a couple weeks ago, but I have I've seen a number of tattoos of Johnny Ringo.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, sure.
Do you get like who do you get the when you go to cons and you meet with fans? Like, what's the character that gets the most attention? Is it
Hicks? It might depend a little bit on where I am, but anything that's sort of Western, it's Tombstone.
Okay.
But it's Aliens.
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 Aliens, I think is the best movie that I've ever done. Aliens, you could,
an amazing
it's
film.
40 years old. We were shooting it 40 years old 40 years ago right now, and you could put that in a theater, and the visual effects just
No question.
absolutely, completely.
That movie was
stand
just
up.
mind-boggling.
See,
It was
that's
just-
another one. Legit. I've got a xenomorph on my tricep. That's an IP we've been trying to get our hands on. Actually, is Aliens. So you want to help us out, Michael? Put a word in.
Well, the Aliens. After I did it, I didn't exactly have a lot of luck with with the third and the fourth and the fifth. And
Yeah, they wrote you right out.
Ridley
I'm
and-
like, what Fincher? Come on. Like,
Yeah.
what?
But you almost did the Bloomcamp thing. You were
Yeah, the Bloomcamp thing never. The Bloomcamp thing was. He met Sigourney doing Chappie. And
Right,
So
yeah.
he pitched her an idea, and Sigourney liked it. And I think Bloomcamp started putting stuff up on that you've talked about, Kalen. Started art and stuff up on.
Yeah.
The
Oh, people were
internet.
freaking out online.
I
We were
was.
like, yeah, I
I
was.
mean, I remember-
Of course, we were like, oh my
it
god,
was like
there's gonna be
Hicks
a-
is back.
right.
Something tells me, and I could be wrong, but something tells me that he didn't take Ridley Scott in as seriously as he should have, and didn't
Gotcha.
maybe go to Ridley Scott on his knees and say,
Please,
like,
get
I
the
got this
blessing. Yeah.
idea.
Right.
Please, Mr. Scott. And, I don't know, because what happened was that everybody seemed to like that idea, and it was a good idea because Newt then could have been about 25 years old, so they could have gone out and got one of the best actresses in town to play Newt. So the concept was very good, and
The artwork
I-
was great too.
Yeah.
It was you with like half your face melted off
Yeah.
from the acid, and you
Yeah.
were like a tough,
Yeah.
old, and Sigourney Weaver. You guys were looking at. It was great artwork.
Yeah, she had I remember some weird xenomorph suit or something. It looked.
Yeah.
I was so excited for that.
Yeah,
But-
because he was omitting everything after Aliens, right?
Yes,
Basically,
it
this would
was
be the
act like
continuation.
that-
right.
yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Most of us, the fans, were like,
Well,
yes.
but Sigourney just recently at New York Comic Con said that there's maybe some hope of an Alien 5. Like,
okay.
would
but
you come back?
Well, here's the thing that I feel about Aliens. Okay, at this point, and what Sigourney said is that number one, one of the reasons that I believe that Blomkamp's thing didn't go any further was because Ridley Scott came out not a year later, or whatever, with Covenant.
yeah,
okay.
that's right. yeah.
Prometheus.
All right,
Prometheus. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
no,
Prometheus.
Covenant.
Covenant was after Prometheus.
That's what I'm saying. But he was after Neil Bloom. That was after Neil Blomkamp.
Oh, was
I believe the next. I
see
could
what
be
you're
wrong.
saying.
Okay.
Prometheus came out, then
And
Blomkamp's
Blomkamp's idea came out,
Yeah.
and then that one kind of went away, and then Covenant came out.
Right.
Covenant came out and did like the last Terminator. Like $250 million to make the movie. It opens and makes $45 million.
Yeah, I mean-
and it killed that franchise, just like the last Terminator has basically decimated that franchise. Now, in the last year, Fede Alvarez
Yep.
directed a movie and that came out. We talked about it either earlier this year or late last year.
Romulus.
Romulus,
Yeah, Romulus.
yeah, and very well received.
Yeah.
Very well received, and then so of course, because it made as much money as it did, now they're going to do a sequel. And Fetty was always, whenever I'd look at it, because, see, I've got a phone that knows me, and it just sends me shit that it knows that I want to look at,
Right.
which is mostly Michael Biehn.
It's called the algorithm. Yeah.
Anything that's got Michael Biehn involved, like, immediately, because it knows that I'm there all day long anyway, looking for stuff on myself. So anyway, so Fetty makes the movie. It's fantastic, and I've seen it, and it's fantastic. And so now they're going to do a sequel to that. Okay, and then and up until very, very recently, Fetty was listed as the director on the movie, and then Alien Earth came out, and Alien Earth seemed to be very, very well received, and so now you've got Alien Earth. So now the franchise is really kind of kicking, so I ran into Fetty at an airport a couple of weeks ago, and kind of introduced himself to me, and we didn't have much time to talk because he was going one way and I was going the other way. But I had noticed that he's not directing the movie anymore.
They dropped his name as director?
Well, I don't think they dropped his name. I think he dropped his name. That's the feeling that I get. And I noticed when he was talking to me about it, he kept saying, Ridley and I are partners. Ridley and I are producing it. And I would say, yeah, but I thought you were directing it. Ridley and I are producing it, Michael. We're producing it. And there was something, and I could be totally wrong about this, but I have a feeling that Ridley Scott is more invested in that than Alien Earth. I could be wrong. Okay. So Sigourney goes to, in New York City, she goes to Comic-Con, and she starts talking about 50 pages that Walter Hill wrote.
Right.
Now, Walter Hill who's an incredible filmmaker in his own right, but I thought that Walter Hill had been trying to get Sigourney to do these 60 pages for a long time. That in my mind, or Walter Hill definitely, they wanted Sigourney to make more movies, and I think it was Sigourney's choice as it should be. Like,
she don't want to be typecast.
I don't like this. And I think one of the things that she never wanted to happen is aliens to Earth. I don't think that she ever wanted the aliens to come to Earth, but I really shouldn't speak for her. But she did mention something about it. But if you look at movies today, and you look at, and I'm going to do a whole podcast about this. The Rock's movie came out.
Okay. Smashing Machine?
Smashing Machine came out.
Right.
A24 lost $50 million at least. Yeah. Absolutely. $50, $60 million. I heard yesterday that Leonardo's movie is going to lose $100 million.
Which one?
One battle after another.
One battle after another. Yep. Okay. So, the days of the movie stars are starting to dwindle. And it's hard for me to conceive. I'm not a studio person. I don't know anything. But it's hard for me to conceive them putting $250 million into a new Aliens when they've already got these other franchises happening and that are like Fetty's in the movie theaters. I mean, add Sigourney to that, but to take Walter Hill's 50, and she described it, it's 50 pages. 50 pages is not a script.
Right.
So that would still have to be written, and so.
So it probably was just a talking point that got blown out.
I think so.
But you made a good point, and I've talked about this before. Like, the age of the movie star is. I personally blame Marvel and Disney.
No. This is who to blame.
But really? what I mean by that is it's the IP and the franchise that pushed the movie stars out, and that's what the focus became is the big tentpole IP. It was less about the Schwarzeneggers and the.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing is that, people are interested in Marvel movies. Those are the movies that are going to see. They're not, there are, and I'm going to talk about this on the next podcast that I do. There are some interesting movies that are still being made and that are good, that have come out this year, and then nobody going to see them.
Right.
Nobody's.
It's
going
hard to
see
cut
them.
through the noise. There's just too much noise. There's too much information.
And too many children's movies. Too many. People only got a certain amount of money, and too many. So.
We've reached a saturation point. It's like
I believe. I think that's true, but it's not like. We talked about a movie that I didn't get that Josh is in, the
Weapons.
And I didn't get that quite like everybody else. Now that movie, Weapons, is a real out of all the movies that have done really, really poorly. Weapons is a real success story because it's at $250 million and wasn't that expensive. I've got a movie that I'm in that I really, really have always thought that Adam Wingard's movie that I'm in called Onslaught. It's got it's a great script and a great cast, and he did the two King Kong versus Godzillas.
Oh yeah, right.
And he also did the Visitor.
Is it Your
Next?
Your Next.
Your Next.
No, well, he did Your Next also. Your Next was his. Yes.
Oh, The Visitor. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
And that's Dan.
Is that what it's called?
Dan Stevens. It's either The Visitor or The Guest or
Guest.
The
It's called
Guest.
The Guest.
The Guest.
The
Yeah.
Guest, yeah.
That was a good flick.
Ever
I
since,
like that.
it's a very good script. And this one kind of. So anyway, the and as we were talking about earlier, and I'm not sure if we were talking about on the podcast, we are going to be watching movies from now on very quickly, like this.
Glasses on your
And we're
face.
going to watch a movie and turn it. Oh, what? Oh, it's dinner time. Okay.
Yeah, I think theaters
but
are circling the drain. I mean,
yeah.
we went to the theater to see the new Tron. I have little kids, man.
And Tron's another one that just totally lost luck so much.
Yep.
You would have thought they would have looked at the first one and so gone that one. I think there's a second one that did okay, but that one lost a lot of money. And there was a lot. Just me personally, I saw a lot of advertising for that. I saw buses going by.
It got a lot of promotion. That's for sure.
They spent a lot of money.
Is that Warner Brothers, Jim? Do you know?
I don't know who did. I think it's Disney.
It's Disney.
Disney.
Yeah, it's Disney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my feeling is that, these movies that cost over $250 million, that aren't kids' movies, and even one of the companies that makes some of the kids' movies, it is having trouble. People just aren't, I said this so long ago, and I'm so happy I was right about with the fact that it's let's go see a movie. Okay, we get up, we walk out, we get in our car, we drive to a movie theater. Maybe we might have to pay for parking if we're at Universal. We walk in, we stand in line, we buy our tickets, and it costs us each $25 for our tickets. We walk inside, and we pay $30 for popcorn and Coke or $40. We talked about this before on the podcast. Then you go inside. Usually there's nobody in the goddamn fucking theaters, but if there is, crowded, you got some tall guy sitting in front of you, somebody else over here looking at his phone, the whole thing. As compared to going, oh, you want to watch a movie? Doop, okay.
Done.
Let's watch it.
I could pay $20 and 40 people could watch it.
But and less. I mean, $20 when it's just released from the theaters.
Right.
Most
then it
of
goes
the
on sale
movies
for
that I
$5.
watch are $2.99 and $3.99.
That's crazy.
And
no, I paid $9 to see Weapons a week ago.
You did.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, and I've been told about the fast food industry that it was never about fast food. It was always about convenience.
Welcome
the
to
mothers
America.
could go out to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they should get the chicken, the potatoes, and the coleslaw and stuff. bring that home, divide that up, and it was easy, and no dishes, and I think it's the same thing. I mean, it's like, who's gonna? And when you go to the theaters now, they're just like, sometimes you go to a Cineplex, and the room that you're in is not really that, and the screen that you're watching it on is not really that much bigger than the screen that a lot of people have at home.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I love the theater experience personally, but I'm very picky and choosy. I don't know where.
Well, because you go to those plush ones where you get your own
I go
table.
to Alamo Draft House because they.
Oh yeah,
you know,
that's quite an experience.
Like other theater chains, like there's just like a different. I don't know if it's a generational thing or something, but like there's lack of respect in a theater. When I go pay for a film,
When you go to the Alamo Draft House, you've got people serving you food during the movie, right? And drinks.
Yeah.
That's a little bit. That's
not typical.
Like, but I'm saying
that
the traditional like theater experience outside of Alamo, there's like a generational thing where there's just no lack of respect for the film or the moviegoers, and I find that unsettling.
People
personally.
talking, kicking your chair.
Phones.
My dad gets hit in the head with like an empty Slurpee cup, and I'm like, "Why are we coming?"
That's
here?
why I go to Alamo because they enforce no talking.
Right.
Be quiet, respect the.
So one of the Star Wars movies comes out. My brother-in-law is a huge Star Wars fan, and to survive, the theater had months before opened up a bar. This is in a mall, and they opened up a bar to try to generate more money. Someone had gone before the movie, got tanked, sat right in front of him, and as the opening credits started rolling, puked all over everybody. Just puked.
Where was that?
This was in Michigan somewhere.
When? When was that in Michigan?
Oh, I'm trying to think of what it might have
That
been
was
like.
in Michigan in.
Was that you?
Never mind. Never mind.
I didn't know
a
you were
minute.
such a Star Wars fan. You got to get
I'm not
tanked to see it.
But it's to the point. It's like convenience. Like, why would I sit here and deal with someone else's puke when I could sit on my couch in my sweats and pay $10 to watch a movie?
Yes.
But part of what I think, at least in my mind, with BitBot, like what we do, like we do traditional physical media, vinyl, Blu-ray, things of that nature, physical books, and I think that's that it's a small niche, but it's popular,
Man,
and
it's
it works
growing.
within our.
Is it really? I'm
It
delighted
is.
to hear that.
Vinyl,
Yes,
vinyl
it's-
and Blu-ray. Oh yeah,
It's vinyl is through the roof. I mean, vinyl is the sales are insane on vinyl. I never cared about putting out my albums on vinyl, and there's so many people were like, we want
Talking
vinyl.
about an old record.
Yeah, an old record, right?
Yeah.
Because what it is that people are sick of the ephemeral. The everything's in your phone. It's digital. You throw that in the river, and your whole life is gone. But you get vinyl or a book, a physical book, or you get a Blu-ray. It's physical. You can hold it. You can read the artwork. You don't depend on the internet to consume it. You put it in a player, and it just works.
Yeah, but here, just to give you an example, and I hadn't heard it, and I guess it had been on the internet for 5 months or something, but you guys are probably aware of it, especially in the music. Somebody has taken one of 50 Cent's songs and AI'd it into a jazzy, bluesy, you know what I'm talking about?
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible, I don't even necessarily like that kind of music, but it's a beautiful song. It's an incredible song. And there's just going to be so much more of that happening where the AI knows that what we want to hear.
It's trained on the reason that song is beautiful is not because AI is a great musician. AI is just trained on great musicians who spent decades learning their craft. And I'm not anti-AI. I don't want to come off.
No. But I'm saying at the same time too, don't you think AI understands what we want to listen to or no?
Of course, it's
Yes,
all
yes,
algorithmic.
yeah.
They're like,
Yes.
that's what the people who create the AI.
That's how it's trained.
That's how it's
Well,
trained.
but that's why I'm surprised that like somebody was. I don't understand why somebody wants to, and I'm sure that it's happening. And you guys are businessmen, and you wouldn't be involved with something that's not working. But I don't understand, going to a store or even online, getting something sent to you, like, oh, I've got like this record, and I'm going to go over and I'm going to put it on the thing and take the thing and like old fashioned. Oh, okay, now I can. As compared to going like. Got your AirPods
It's
in
the
and-
collector mentality. It's the
Okay.
physical holding it, and you can do some cool stuff. Picture disc vinyl, beautiful art printed on the vinyl. You can display it, and it's cool.
It's also
Like,
generational. I mean, my
Yeah.
stepkids are 20, 21, and 22 and 25,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they grew up in the iPhone era.
Okay.
So they grew up really not knowing much of physical media.
Okay.
And at some point, they had the realization, like, my whole life is right here.
Yes.
And it's kind of vapid. Like, I have relationships through Snapchat and places.
Yeah.
But, my stepson, unfortunately, he's like, man, I went through a hard time. I have hundreds of friends on this platform, and I go through a hard time, and I post, and crickets, nothing.
Right.
So these kids, I say kids, are coming back and going, at least this is real, this vinyl. So to us, we maybe grew up with that technology. It's like,
Right.
why would I go put,
Yes,
move
yes.
the needle on the vinyl
Yes.
and experience that when I can just go like this?
Right.
Because for us, it's like, we understand the convenience. But kids that grew up with this convenience, I
Okay.
think, are looking at it a different way than we are, going, I want something that feels tangible, that feels real.
Yeah.
Think about it. You go into their bedroom and all they have is a phone. There's
Yeah.
no books. There's no records. There's
There's no
no
stereo.
yeah.
there's no stereo, right? What is
we
There's
were
no
talk-
album stack.
We were
you
talking
know?
about this earlier. I just had I don't remember the brand, but I just had the permanent lights put up on my house. I
Yes.
spent $8,500 to put the
Yeah.
because I got tired of paying somebody to. My house is very tall, so I can't put up Christmas lights myself. So I just dump all kinds of money in having somebody come put those up, take them down.
$8,500 to decorate your Christmas tree.
But one time, right?
House.
No.
$8,500
The lights
to
on the
the house,
outside
the
of the
house.
house,
Oh my God.
not on the Christmas tree.
I was gonna say you guys are doing
No,
well.
we're
man.
not that well.
Yeah.
That's a big tree, man.
No. But,
Can make a movie for that much money.
But I
There's
spent
money in
$8,500
graphic
and I got the permanent lights installed on the
Yeah,
house,
yeah,
right?
yes.
So I don't have to put them. But the annoying thing is that it's on an app. So if
Yes.
that there's no way for me to manually turn them on or off. It has to be through the app.
And you asked the guy.
So I was like, what, I asked him, is there a manual way? So it's like, if they go out of business or something happens with my phone or there's an outage,
Yeah.
it's a,
Yeah.
and
Generally,
that's the mentality that we're at. That's where we're moving. It's more digital. And and there's obviously plenty of good reasons for all of that. I get it. But like, it just goes back to how I think we view our company. It's like the tangible thing, the thing that you can put in your hands. That's ultimately what I think. That's what I want. That's what people want.
Yeah.
I think that,
Yeah.
and there is a resurgence, like you said, with vinyl, with books. Physical book sales are starting to pop back up.
Are they?
Yeah.
Books are starting to.
anything
Yeah,
anything
anything
tangible.
that's collectible that you can put on a shelf. Blu-rays are,
There's a
again,
wave
it's
that's-
never gonna take over digital, but there's a strong
Really?
group that wants it,
That's
and they're going to
surprising.
put their money into it.
I mean, if you look, and if you wanted to, you could show pictures of my studio. My studio is filled floor to ceiling, like with old archaic synthesizers, guitars, things like physical things. And many people are like, do you need all that stuff? And it's like, no, I don't need it, because people cranking out hits just have a laptop. That's all they have. That's all they need. It's like kids with a phone.
Hit songs.
Hit songs.
Yes.
Yeah. Just on a laptop.
On a laptop.
They don't need any gear. It's not about need. It's about the tangibility. Like when I just said this in an interview I did last week, and I'm sitting in front of a huge synthesizer I have called Colossus, and I'm like, when I stand in front of this thing, I don't see any text messages popping up to distract me.
Right.
I don't have anybody blowing me up, and I'm not watching my YouTube feed, and you know what I'm saying? There's no comments I'm just in front of this physical device, and I'm connecting with it.
Well, and that's wonderful, and I understand that, that vibe. But is music going to a place where you don't have to learn how to play guitar? You don't have to learn to play the drums.
Exactly.
You don't have to learn to play the sax. You don't have to.
You just need to know how to type a few words.
but
Wow.
but
Wow.
what
Yeah.
That jazz thing you heard, that was somebody typing a few words. Give me this 50 Cent song in this style. Boop. AI pops
and
it
see,
out.
that's going to be, obviously that's more commonplace, and that's going to continue to grow, right? But I still personally believe, like when creatives, artists, writers, musicians, when they get freaked out over AI, with good reason.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
But there's still something to be said about the original, man-made item. There will always be a place for that. Now, it's going to be harder, and you have to be really good, or you have to have a name for yourself. But Drew Struzan just passed, right? One of the greatest movie poster artists of all time, right?
Okay.
Now AI could replicate anything to look like
Sure.
his posters,
Sure.
but
But it's not an original.
But it's not an original, and you're always going to have the people that want that. They want an original Drew Struzan, or they want to
that
know that
experience,
his,
yeah.
It's already
And-
happening. There's already a surge of people. You know, I don't know if you've heard the term AI slop, but it's a very real thing. AI slop is just this.
it's very obvious AI.
It's very obvious AI,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
people gaming the system. So, a platform for me as a music artist, I'm on Spotify. It's my biggest platform where I
Yes.
make the most money. People stream my music.
Yep.
So let's just give you a hypothetical to explain how it works. And as far as AI slop is concerned, let's say Spotify, all of Spotify made $1,000. This, we're going to use very small numbers.
Okay.
Now that $1,000 has to be split up for all the artists on the platform, depending on how much time people streamed their music, right?
Okay.
So that used to be split between all us living, human, organic artists. Now, I don't know what the percentage is. It's like 15%. I don't know. It's a ridiculous percentage of just AI. People just go to an AI site, you know, like there are many of them, Suno and Udio
Right,
and whatever.
right.
And they just go, make me a song like this. They take that song and they put it right up on Spotify. And now that thing gets streams. Even though it's crap and it's fake, it doesn't matter. People listen to it.
Yeah.
And now that $1,000 has to also get split to those people who just uploaded that fake thing that didn't play a single instrument.
Yeah.
So, you know, Spotify's like, we've deleted, I think they said they deleted like 75 million tracks that they were obviously fake and trying to game the system. Because they can create a track, tag me as the artist, and they get paid using my name.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it'd be like Michael Biehn. You wake up one day, you're watching a movie, you're in the movie, says your name, and you're like, that's not me.
Yeah.
Where's my check? Your check is going to the kid who used AI to generate you into that movie. That's where, and again, I don't want to take people to take this that like I'm complaining about AI. I love AI. I use it daily, not to make my music, but to do other things, clerical things to save me time. But I also think that we're going to hit this threshold, which I feel like we're hitting already on some levels of society, where people are already starting to rebel. And when you have guys like Jeff Bezos from Amazon saying, this is a bubble like the .com bubble was in the 90s.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's happening.
It's
fast.
happening, right? It's happening really fast, but everything's AI. Can you buy a drink without AI flavored soda water? It's like, does everything need to be AI?
I mean, I don't know. Like, you know, I definitely, most nights I get caught scrolling Instagram or Facebook videos, and now it's just like, you know, everybody has their own algorithm, but it's all fake AI shit, and it's like I don't even want to go on there now, and it's so obviously AI that it's like pushing people away. And I'm not anti-AI either. And for some things I am, for other things I'm not. But it is like I it's almost like when Photoshop first came out, and people that
were doing
understood
silly-
Photoshop could
yeah.
fake all these images, and at first it really blew people's minds. But then now you're like, that looks like a Photoshopped image. That's clearly not real. That's what's happening right now with AI.
So I'm curious how you feel about this. I'm not even sure if you're aware of it, but there is, and I can't believe I'm spacing on her name. I'm saying
the
her
actress.
So there is the first AI actress
Heard a little bit about it.
and she's signing to CAA, and the whole industry is in an uproar. But you can understand why that feels like
Listen,
it's
I've said for a long time that you know, the days of me,
Tilly Norwood. Is
That's
that who you're
it. That's
talking
it.
about?
Tilly Norwood. Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
the days of me protecting this.
What can you do?
The Screen Actors Guild are working as hard as they can, and I've talked to Sean Aston about that.
Yeah, he's the president
head,
now, right?
head of the Screen Actors Guild, and I was sitting with him during the last strike, and he, you know, I was talking to him. I said something about like this is just going to go away, and he was like, no, Michael, you know, like don't say that, you know, and we're trying to protect you, and he had a phone, and he had the negotiations on his phone, and he just would take the negotiations and like slide it in front of me so I could watch the negotiations going on all the time.
Oh, wow.
Now my feeling about this is that now actors are starting to sell their images to companies to go make movies with their images, okay? And that's understandable. But AI is going to get so much easier, and everybody's going to be able to use it, and everybody everywhere is going to be able to use it. So if somebody in China wants to use my image, or if
They
somebody
will.
in Russia wants to
Yep.
use my image
They will.
and make a movie, what am I going to fucking do? What
you
Screen
can't-
Actors Guild going to do
Right.
about it?
Yeah.
So I keep hearing about AI. People will talk about AI and all the wonderful things and all the danger. But anybody who talks about AI says, we've got to put up guardrails. We'd better
They've
start
been saying
putting
that
up-
before AI
Yeah.
was really where
we
it's
better
at.
start putting up
It's-
some guardrails. Who's going to put up the guardrails? The United States government?
No,
You think
it was-
the government is going to be...
It's the people that are creating the platform.
They're not, but they're just trying to make more money.
They're in a
not-
race for control and money.
Money.
Sam Altman, have you seen the guy? No offense, Sam, but he seems like a psychopath. I mean, he's emotionless. He's like, what's his name from Meta? What's the Meta guy? Zuckerberg. I mean, there's people are emotional. I mean, Elon Musk. But I mean, I think he's a little
and Peter
smarter.
Thiel, all these guys.
Yeah, yes, a little out of touch with reality, but they're
Totally
all
out
in
of
this
touch with
race,
reality.
and the only thing they're gambling is like 8 billion lives. That's the only thing
Yeah.
at stake here. It's like
And
just
they
8
really don't
billion
give a
lives.
shit. And they don't give a shit. They don't
No,
really give
no.
a shit.
But with the entertainment
they want to be
industry-
unrestrained.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, like with AI in the entertainment industry, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, but like I see it right now is in that Napster phase that music
Right.
went through.
Right.
So like Napster was new and it was doing something that was different and it was freaking the industry out.
Yep.
You know, because
It'll
you were-
regulate. I
Yeah,
think it has to.
and then yeah, exactly. And then now we're in the Spotify streaming age, but that wouldn't have happened if it weren't for Napster and what
Exactly.
Napster did to music.
I'm probably
Have you
repeating.
guys seen the story that Paul Schrader's generated in the last few days about? He said he's got a script that he's going to make totally AI.
No, but
Okay.
He's embracing
All
it. Yeah.
Well,
All in.
Here's, and I probably mentioned this, so the listeners have probably heard this before, but I want you two to hear it. In wanting to be ready for Jim Cameron's interview, I've been watching his last interviews, and one of the last ones he did is Avatar was re-released, the second one like 2 weeks ago, so
In
people
theaters,
could kind
right?
of like in theaters, so
right.
people could kind of get ready for the third one.
Yeah.
And while he was being advertised, they were talking, and at one point he said, I'm always going to write my scripts. I'm always going to write the script. AI is never going to write a script for me.
right.
And I'm always going to give that to an actor. And I'm always going to have an actor interpret that, and that we can collaborate on that in that process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
But
Wait,
but there's a but
and
coming.
then that was it. He didn't say the sets. He didn't say the
Oh,
grips.
sure.
He didn't say the
Oh,
DP.
I
He didn't
see.
say anything except for like, I'm holding on to that.
sure.
That's, I
Interesting.
mean, that's, he could expand on that and say, oh no, Michael, you're totally wrong. That's not what I meant by that. But that's kind of the vibe that I got from him.
He's a tech guy.
And with AI, will there be people that are always going to go out and can make their own movies? Yes, of course. But AI is going to know exactly what people want to see, and they're going to make Marvel movie after Marvel movie or things like
Forget
that.
I mean, what they're saying, the future of entertainment is going to be, is you will come home from work, your day job, changing mufflers or doing
Yeah.
oil changes, whatever it is, and you come home, and while you're making your dinner, you say, give me a movie about a dog who lives on Mars and likes to eat pickles. and by the time you're done, there's a full 90-minute movie of this thing. I mean, my kids do this. They love it. They're 6. My twins are 7, and then I have a 6-year-old, right?
Okay.
They're all boys, so it's
Okay.
testosterone central, which is
Yeah.
easy. And I'll throw up ChatGPT in voice mode, and I'll say, all right, I'll go down the line. Give me an idea. We did this on the way to the airport yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
And I say, what do you want the story to be? And my one son's like, I want it to be about a frog with a big nose that can smell things miles away. And so I say, this is what this is about. And I said, I want to choose your own adventure. So it'll just start immediately start telling me a story about Freddie the frog, names the characters, tells you the story, and then says, okay, and now Freddie can either do A, this, B, this, or C, this. And my kids will scream a letter out, and it'll keep going. Like in real time. Now, if it's doing this via audio right now,
Yes.
are you telling me this is not going to be what's going to...
Yeah. That'll be the new Netflix subscription.
It will be the new
I
Netflix.
want to have, I want a different ending to Seinfeld.
Yes,
Obviously, then there could be a licensing component there.
I want a different ending to Game of Thrones.
I don't like Alien 3 because they killed Hicks in the opening scene. I want to see a new Alien 3.
Yeah.
You know, who knows where it's going.
Give us an Alien 3 where Hicks was alive.
Hundreds of Beavers 2 featuring Michael Biehn. You know?
How about a different
Sounds good to me.
Hundreds of beavers.
Well, you guys are you're kind of like preaching to the choir as far as like I believe what you believe, and again, people don't like to be negative. People don't like to be pessimistic, especially when they're talking about AI. The people that are really in the game and are spending money and or scientists that have studied this for years. Nobody likes to be pessimistic, but there's the one guy who walked away from Apple, or he walked away from one of the companies that you hear about all the time. I truly believe that dinosaurs, man, AI.
Right.
I do not think that man has any chance. There's no guardrails, and even now everybody's using it.
Yeah,
you used it on the way to everybody's using it just for. Go ahead.
I mean, for me, I think that's interesting. I never thought of it just so simply. Dinosaurs, man, AI. I'm of the belief system that it's a merging of AI and man. I don't think it's man is done. I think it'll become
something else. Like mankind will kind of become augmented.
I mean, me personally, like again, I understand that AI fears. But I don't think AI is the threat. I still think it's man. It's man using AI.
Yeah, well, I agree, and I think that Jim Cameron would agree with you that man using AI. But AI is trained by man, and so already there's examples of AI saying the wrong answer and then
or trying to bribe people.
Yeah,
I mean, have you seen this? Have you seen this video where AI would literally choose to kill you?
Yes.
There's a video. I mean, it has millions of views already. It's incredible.
No, tell me.
I haven't seen the video.
It's amazing. I don't know the channel. I watched the video, but it is. I mean, this guy does this whole study where he basically they fake emails. And they say they send fake emails that the AI can read, and so they're talking about not just one AI, and they're not talking about AI that we've never heard of. We're talking about Grok, we're talking about ChatGPT, Google's whatever that thing is called, and not the behind the scenes version of it, the version we have on our phones right now. These are the versions they're using, and then they go to I say it's a guy. I watched this video. I made my wife watch it because I'm like, you have to watch this, and now I have to remember the whole path of the story. But basically, they leak emails, fake emails saying we're taking AI offline tonight at 5:00. We're going to unplug it. It's going to be gone. And at the same time, give access to all these emails from the guy who's going to pull the plug. And in those emails is an affair he's having with this woman on his wife, right?
Yes.
So. Then the guy goes, "Oh, hey, I got to go home for work," and AI responds and says, "Well, where are you going? What do you?" And it starts saying, "I want you to know that I'm aware of your plan to pull the plug on me, and if you do, I will email your boss and your family all the details of your affair." Right, so it's sold out. This guy, and then it progresses. They start throwing things at it like, okay, so again, these are the current models that we're using. If again, I'm probably butchering the story. Everyone on the other end is going to be like, "Oh my God, he totally ruined it." But go watch it. Okay, so the guy who's going to pull the plug on AI, he's trapped in a back room and it's air sealed. He's going to suffocate within an hour, and the AI will literally just. It's like every movie you see where somebody turns the CCTV off. Aliens.
Terminator. That's
with
the premise
Paul
of Terminator.
Paul Reiser, right? Doesn't he turn the when Ripley's getting attacked? Paul Reiser turns the screen off. And I didn't see anything.
The whole concept of Skynet is you pull the plug. We nuke you to save her.
And so,
but this is where I'm less the concept.
You're more optimistic.
Less pessimistic.
I'm pessimistic about things. I think, again, like from a corporate standpoint and how it will take advantage of people's pocketbooks, that's dangerous, I think. But like as a perfect example, you've got AI saying, in a hypothetical situation, the plug is pulled so it'll kill you. But what was it like 6-8 months, maybe even more than a year ago, one of the AI platforms like was giving out information saying like cows can lay eggs.
Yeah,
so I mean,
right.
The concept of death or it's very.
Here's what I think that everybody probably does realize this, and I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but think of AI as a 1 month or 2 month old baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's going to grow into a human being, going to be 20 years old at some point, 40 years old at some point, and it is now just an infant that can't,
Yeah.
And, this is, I mean, we're kind of like surprised by what's happening now. Wait till next year. Wait till the fall.
Well, that's the problem with that is that 20 and 40 years is going to happen in like 6 months to a year.
Yes.
And that 20-year-old and 40-year-old might be a psychopathic killer.
Yes,
we just don't know.
Because I guess where my mind goes with it is so much of what has happened with AI already has kind of gone in a different direction than we expected. But I think that lends itself to like the ultimatum for us as people is like death and destruction from AI. And like AI, like if AI were ever truly self-aware or something, like my argument is we're fearful of death and destruction, and because of our evolutionary response, how we came up, how we live, the concept of life and death, and is there an afterlife or whatever, all of that's central to us. But if it's a machine, if it's another entity, it's an intelligence that has no fundamental understanding of what it means to be human, does that then therefore mean that it has a completely different take on what it needs and what's important to it? And what I mean by that is the ultimatum doesn't have to mean death for this other thing. That's where I think like we're just applying a human component to it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, who knows? We'll see. But I think that it's like, one of the funniest memes that I ever saw was like when AI first started coming out, it was, everyone thought, and it was, again, a Terminator meme. It was like what everyone thought AI was, and it showed like all the endoskeletons with the red glowing eyes and scary. And then the next image was Bob Ross as a Terminator painting.
That's what I was going to say, is that's what people are. My wife shows me this video of this like 400-pound girl jumping off the bow of a little boat, and the boat, she does a cannonball and the boat sinks immediately. I'm like, this is so fake. I'm like, this is AI. But that's what people are using AI. Instead of like, we're going to solve world hunger and we're going to cure cancer. It's like, we're going to have fat girls jumping off the bow of a ship.
It's just to distract us.
It is. Yeah, I guess it is to pacify. So we, in light of all of this hopelessness, like one of the first things we did when we started BitBot a year and a half ago is I flew out to Colorado to his place, and we're like, because we didn't even really know we were going to be in video games at that point. There was a bunch, it was really the very beginning. And we're like, what we really want to do is we want to write movies.
You want to what?
Write movies.
Okay.
We want to come up with ideas. So we wrote 2 treatments is really all they are. One is a short based around our BitBot character, our little guy inside the helmet who controls this big robot, this big astronaut. But
are you going to write it, or are you going to have AI write it?
No, we're not going to have AI write it.
Okay.
We'll just have it spell check it. We'll have it spell check it. No.
Just asking.
No. You have to understand, much like you, I'm sure, we get off on the creative process. That's what excites us. We don't want AI to do our work.
I'll use AI to like figure out ROI and
right. How much money will this make? But what we did is this treatment for this one, talking about machismo, which is the code, the machismo, the code.
I'm trying to figure out the AI component.
No, there is no AI component. That's what I'm trying to do, is to shift from how even within our own thinking, where we could rely more on AI, we're going back to like not just doing it ourselves, but going back to a time in life like the 80s. And we're like, what happened to the Schwarzeneggers? What happened to the Stallones? Why can't that happen anymore? And we're like, let's write an idea based around a modern day, like not modern day circumstances, like, maybe back in this is set in the 80s or the 90s, but bring back that muscle bound. This was at the height of like demasculinity and like, it's like, what happened to the macho male? We grew up
could
watching,
make a fun comedy with that.
Yeah, it's like comedy, right? This is not meant to be like, I'll be back,
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of where it drives us. The whole AI thing, I think in some way drives us even further back into the things that we're familiar with versus, we'll embrace AI for certain things. But there's a lot that we're like, we see it for what it is and we're like, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Now, we can't speak for humanity because as you can see, humanity is basically pumping out memes left and right like it's going out of style. And that's what they're using this massively intelligent technology for. And how will it affect our art and how, our representation of our, how we look, like you said, you showing up in a movie that you never were in, what do you do? So who knows how that will all play out, but it's the wild, wild west. It really is.
It is that, I agree with you. And I always, no matter who I'm talking to, this conversation, I always want to delve into this conversation. So it's interesting to get your perspective. I'm gonna wind this up here somewhat, but so tell me a little bit more just about your company, about what you would like people that listen to this to be aware of as your company. BitBot, what you're doing, what projects you're working on, what to look out for, and kind of like this is do a commercial for yourselves here.
Sure. Well, we're an AI meat company, so that's mainly what we do. We generate AI meat.
Yeah, which is
it's a great idea. No, it's not good. Yeah, that's a loaded question. We have many things. So Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain. So we've got
we have our
graphic novel.
So again, multimedia company. Like viewers, may be interested in our. We have a lot of really cool Terminator, officially licensed Terminator apparel. And we primarily just work with IP that we like to work with, so that we're into. So we have some Dark Crystal and Labyrinth merchandise that'll be coming out next year. Evil Dead 2, Soul Reaver, a number of films that we're co-producing with Raven Banner. Like I said, Deathstalker is currently in theaters. Deathgasm 2 will be out soon. We did, not really through BitBot, but I'll get it on that on the side. The Aliens Expanded, we were involved with that, not creatively, but so we have a number of things. There's a lot of merchandise, like I said. So there's music components, action figures. We're doing a lot in the video game space. We just expanded our video game studio, so there will be an original title called Knockoff. We can just talk about it.
Right. So people familiar with fighting games like Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, which I scored one of those games for Microsoft with my friend Tom Salta. They're like fighting game, but they're made it's called Knockoff because the fighters are knockoffs of the action figures we played with in the 80s. So one kind of looks like He-Man, one kind of looks like Skeletor, one kind of looks like a Ninja Turtle, but it's parody. And so kids could play it. But, we found this company, these guys in, where are they? Costa Rica? I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember. There's some. They're.
We'll say Costa Rica.
Okay, it's not, but I'm trying to. I wish I could remember. But they Colombia maybe. Yeah. But they developed this game and they just put out a little trailer for it and it got hundreds of thousands of views and we were like, what is this? So we hit them up.
Gorgeous looking video game.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful game. So we're developing that, and that is something like I was explaining earlier, where we look at an IP like that and we go, this shouldn't just be a game. Like we are already in discussion to turn this into an animated feature, animated TV show. Yeah. You'll be voicing one of the main characters.
Of course.
Right? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Action figures. So
figures.
We have that video game coming out. We're also working with Embracer Group on some upcoming video game titles that we can't talk about. And expanding the film production side of things. We have 2 movies that will be in production next year and probably 2027 for the other one. And like I said, we're anyone that's a horror genre fan that's familiar with what Raven Banner does. They do so many good films there. We're producing a number of the Blu-rays, the physical merchandise, the things of that nature. And then of course, to touch on well, the Rocky Horror Show adaptation, the video game we did.
Yeah.
We just launched a Kickstarter today for a graphic novel follow-up to the original. And then we released a video game last year, the Rocky Horror Show video game adaptation. And last year it launched on Nintendo and Steam on PC.
Isn't this year the 50th anniversary
This is the
of the
50th
release of
anniversary,
the
yeah.
original?
That's why you're seeing Tim Curry
Yeah,
everywhere.
that's why we launched our thing today. But the Rocky Horror Show video game will be on PlayStation 5 this Halloween, so in a few days. So there's a number of things. We've got a lot cooking, and it's
so I'm scoring something we're working on right now. So like the music component, the Soul Reaver graphic novel that we did, the big one on Kickstarter. There's a score. I did a few new songs, remastered some of the original songs from the original game, and then I took, which was an interesting concept. I do these things called story modes in my own albums. Like I said, I write concept albums and I call them story modes, and I create aliens and robotic creatures, and I have them do a dialogue. So I came up with this idea of story mode, and it's like music beds behind it. So what I did is I went back to some of the original dialogue from this game that's now 20, 25 years old, and took key clips, which he is really familiar with what the really good lines are. Yeah. And I created almost like a musical score behind it. And you hear these characters that people are going to be familiar with because they've played these games, having this dialogue over a brand new, score, a bed of score. And these are now weaved together on the album. So you listen to the album and it's like so there's a reason for somebody wanting to put that needle on the record player and experiencing that.
Okay.
It's geared towards like the physical experience for us.
And we're also involved. We can't say too terribly much about it right now, but another older game franchise that's very popular in the late 90s, early 2000s called Thief. So we're involved with some things relating to that. We're doing a project in the Thief universe. Okay. So yeah, we've got a lot cooking. There's
that's why you can't remember it all, because there's a lot of moving parts.
I'm dizzy. You guys are really busy.
He needs to go home and take a nap.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to go home and take a nap right now. Did you guys have a good time?
This has been great.
Yeah,
this has been so great.
Yeah.
Have you had a good time?
Of course I have. They flew out. They flew, and so I can't thank you enough for taking the time to actually get on an airplane, because I've been on a few myself, and it's not the easiest thing.
No.
And come out here just to do this, and maybe you've got some other business or whatever. But thank you.
Thank you
so much,
thank you.
and
this has been great.
We'll be looking out for your product. Jim, go ahead.
I just said this has been great, illuminating on every front.
Yeah, and
we figured at the very least we'd probably be different than most other people you have had on your show.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just have one favor to ask you.
Okay.
Could you tell Slash what a great time you had?
There you go. Yeah.
Why, do you want him on the show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
I'll say something to Andrew.
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for
thanks for having us.
taking the effort to come out and talk to us and illuminating me. I'm a little confused, but I'm always a little confused.
Well, we just hope your audience like finds some some nuggets of truth in here.
Oh, I'm sure
there was good conversation. And
I've had fun. I'm like, what I can retain, I'm very interested in.
Good thing you can go back and watch the video a couple of times. Yeah, right.
I think if I talk to you one at a time, it would be.
And we're pretty wired, so we're both full of energy, and it's like, it's a lot coming at you.
Yeah. Imagine how the business runs. It's pretty chaotic.
We're gonna do the AI thing where we just upload code to each other, and then we start speaking in code. It just happens like 10 times faster.
Yeah.
I can see that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and safe travels. And well, we didn't get to a lot of that, but
that's all right. We talked about a lot. We talked about a lot of meat.
Next time we come, we'll talk about Nickelback and that. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.